you. We're going back in time. History class, facts and rhyme. From pyramids to civil wars, revolutions, wars, and knights. Step into the past, was playing with mine. Unlock the stories that shaped humankind. Battles, ideas, heroes, and crime. It's the History Pod. It's learning time.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the History Pod. Today we're going to be talking about student mental health and how schools are struggling to help their students learn, as well as ways to improve this. Schools are struggling to help students thrive in the learning environment that has been created in the classroom. Why? Students are assigned pages and pages of papers and tests which can stress them out, along with worrying about their social life, like sports, clubs, work, and hobbies.
Schools are blocking everything on Chromebooks, from study sites to educational articles. This is censoring freedom of the press and our rights to have access to educational documents. It is limiting our learning horizons, and not having access to helpful resources is constricting the variety of evidence they can use for essays, public information, and useful studying platforms.
The following is an interview that we had with Ms. Fontaine and Mr. Vieira.
Why do you think student mental health has become such a passing issue in recent years?
Passing issue?
Yes.
What do you mean by that?
So studies have shown that in recent years, mental health has in teenagers has increased by 41%. Than from the beginning, the 2000s.
Okay.
Why do you believe it's become such an issue, and why do you think the percentage increased?
Okay, so I actually, maybe I'm in the minority. I do not think the percentage has actually increased. I think that students feeling more comfortable reporting mental health concerns, whether it's to their friends, teachers, counselors, parents, has become more prevalent. So I think that people just feel more comfortable, which is wonderful, talking about their feelings, their mental health, sharing with friends reporting stuff. So I think there has been a slight rise, but I don't think it's to that degree. I just think that we're a more open community now, and we're more willing to talk about it. There's less of a stigma around it.
I think just because the amount of stressors in the world have kind of increased, the amount of demands. I mean, I see it even in my own children in school, the demands placed on them. I can think back to when I was in 6th grade, I was still at an elementary level school with recess and playing kickball and no homework and stuff. So I think, schools, while we're doing the best we can, and we have to meet certain requirements and stuff, I think school places a lot of demands on kids. Social media, as Ms. Fontaine was previously answering, has a big part of it as well. Whether it is the fear of missing out and seeing your friends doing things, or just not being able to escape conflicts that you would have during the day with someone, and maybe you would each go home back when, I was younger, and you wouldn't see that person again for another 24 hours. Now it's unavoidable, you just see them online and stuff. So, that's another thing. Kids are just involved in a lot of things nowadays compared to when they're younger, whether it's dance or baseball or whatever. Kids have really full schedules and not enough time to kind of take care of themselves. And just families too. Families have to work, so there's less support at home. A lot of times because parents are both working. And I could probably just keep going on and on, but those are the first few things that stick out.
Okay, how do you think academic pressure, social media, and family expectations contribute to student stress?
Oh, goodness. Wow, that's a big one to answer. Well, I think social media, just because everything is put out there, that is going to be stressful, right? So before social media, if 2 or 3 friends had plans with each other, that was fine. They go off and do something, it's totally fine. Now, they have to post for pictures for it, they have to put it out there, so that's the stress on the people that are doing the activity to prepare for it, to have their hair right, to have their makeup done, to make sure their outfit's right, that they go together in the picture, that they look good. But then it also puts stress on the people that they're also friends with that maybe didn't get invited to the activity, and so those people are now home well, why didn't they invite me? Did I do something wrong? How do I get the invitation? I'll go do something else to make them mad. It just adds a little bit of pressure to the relationship.
I've seen a lot of that even like in our own friends.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Staff to, that could help with students' mental health. It's just whether we have the time in school a lot of times to deal with their mental health, which I kind of referred to in the other question about not having enough time to kind of give students time to take care of themselves and allow staff to kind of help them.
In your view, are schools equipped to handle student mental health needs? Why or why not?
I think the answer is always going to be yes and no, right? So you have us, you have adjustment counselors, you have guidance counselors who are here to help support you. I think teachers, they might not have a degree in counseling or mental health, but they're caring people, so they're there to support you as well. But I just don't think any school is ever going to be equipped to handle every single student's level of need. We do the best we can. We refer out to places when we need to, keep in contact with parents, therapists, but I think we always are going to need more support than what we have and look for ways to continue to support better.
If you could change one thing about how schools handle mental health, what would it be?
Oh, if I could change something that how we handle mental health. That is a good and difficult question. I would say in our school in particular, this community is very underserviced in terms of community agencies that support students. So I feel like other schools have a lot of additional services that we can't access here, whether that's because I don't know, I think it's a variety of reasons. We're in 2 different counties, so no one feels responsible for us, being part of Bristol County and Plymouth County. People seem to think this place is out in the woods. I disagree. It's right off 140. It's easy to get to. It's close to Fall River, Taunton, and New Bedford, so I feel like we could have more services, but agencies aren't looking necessarily to send people to work in Lakeville. It always seems to be like just out of everybody's catchment area.
I think just within the schools too, just allowing more time for students to kind of decompress. There are some students, and I know a lot of students do want a full schedule from beginning to end of the day, but just periods in the day to just kind of decompress or be able to attend some type of small support group or even a club or something that's fun. It doesn't have to necessarily be mental health focused, but it can be quite a grind going from beginning to end of the day, just classes and then homework or a job or sports or whatever, and that's for any school, not just our school. So just having more allowance in the day to get help if you need it without worrying about missing an assignment or a test review or something like that.
I agree. I think that would be really helpful.
All right, thank you. That was the final question.
End of interview.
In recent years, student mental health has declined, with 42% of teens experience persistent feelings of sadness or hopelessness. Rising academic pressure, social isolation, and lingering effects of the pandemic have left many students struggling with anxiety, depression, and burnout. Schools and universities are increasingly expected to provide mental health resources and emotional support, but the question remains, who should bear that responsibility? Should it fall on the federal government, the states, or local institutions?
During the ratification debates of the late 1780s, Americans were divided over how much power the new federal government should have and how much authority should remain within the states. Federalists like Alexander Hamilton and James Madison believed that a strong central government was essential to maintain unity and promote common good. The Federalist Papers state, "Besides, it is well known that acknowledgments, explanations, and compensations are often accepted as satisfactory from a strong united nation, which would be rejected as unsatisfactory if offered by a state or confederacy of little consideration or power." Anti-Federalists, however, feared that too much centralized control would threaten individual liberty and could not understand or meet the specific needs of its citizens. The Anti-Federalist Papers state, "I am confident it must be, and that it is, the sincere wish of every true friend to the United States, that there should be a confederated national government, but that it should be one which would have a control over national and external matters only, and not interfere with the international regulations and police of the different states in the Union. Such a government, while it would give us respectability abroad, would not encroach upon or subvert our liberties at home. Some argue that the federal government should take a more active funding role in ensuring access to counseling services, funding school programs, and establishing national mental health standards. Others insist that mental health is best addressed by local schools and state governments, which changes depending on the community. Just as in the ratification debates, the question centers on the balance between national responsibility and local freedom.
Understanding these historical roots help reveal why the issue of student mental health is so complex. Like the founders, we continue to struggle with how much power the federal government should hold versus how much should be left to the states and individuals.
The conversation about student mental health is not only about well-being, but also how America defines care, community, and collective responsibility. Thanks for listening in on this episode of the History Pod.